What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of 10K on the Bay, my journey to 10,000 live listings. My goal is to provide you with actionable information to improve your eBay store so you can make more money and either support your family or build a really awesome side hustle. Today, I'm going to go over the 3 things that keep most people under $100,000 in sales. And it should be super useful for you guys. I think these are things that are really going to help you improve your eBay store, take your reselling career to the next level. If you want to talk to me, it's probably better that you go to YouTube because I'll look at the chat there. But either way, I'm just going to get straight into it. The first thing that prevents people from getting into the 100K mark is an overall store brand. And I'm not talking about the banner, or I'm not talking about the way that you do your listing. I'm talking about the brand of your items, the way you represent yourself. So are you an online business? Do you look like a store? Do you look like a mom and pop store? Do you look like a yard sale? Do you look like a professional store with pure white photos and every single thing is brand new? It just depends on what your overall brand is. I've been doing these store reviews now for about 2 weeks. I looked at hundreds of stores, and the stores that do well have a very specific congruency. It looks like a store. Everything looks the same. It doesn't necessarily have white background. It doesn't necessarily have a fancy HTML template, but they look the same. Store item number 1 and item number 500 look identical, which means that they're focused on creating a specific look and feel to their store. And I'll tell you right now that totally speeds up your process. I want you guys to switch your mindset from I sell stuff on the internet to I'm a business owner. I treat things properly. I pay my tax. I do things the right way. And if you are a store owner, you actually show up before the store opens and you stay after the store closes to sweep, make sure the store looks nice, reorder stuff, fix things. What I see most people are they're 9 to 5ers. They're people who are designed to work for somebody else, and then they switch to an eBay store. But the thing is, if you show up late to your eBay store and you leave early on your eBay store and you don't tidy things and you don't make your store look nice, people aren't going to continue to come back to your store. You're going to struggle with sales because you're competing against people like me or other people who literally do it 24/7. So you're competing against people that are doing it double full time. If you're me, 40 hours is considered part-time. 40 hours is a joke. If you're trying to really run a business, 40 hours is part-time. You really got to get in there and really make things work. If you really want to make it to the next level, you got to spend time sourcing, upgrading every single area of your business. So that's number 1. The second thing that's really going to help you level up is sell popular items instead of cheap items. So people are really, really hurt by the fact that they've spent so many hours and times and days listing stuff that people don't want. And it's not like, I get it. You spend a lot of time working on your eBay store, but the market doesn't care. The sad truth is the market doesn't care. The heaviest sales on eBay, on Amazon and Etsy are popular products. There are products that sell 15,000 times per month. 15,000 times per month. You can get those items at the store and you can have a sell-through rate of 1 week. If you only sold the most popular 100 items on eBay, you'd have zero death pile and zero inventory. You'd have zero things to sell because as soon as you posted it, they would be gone. The thing is, if you're too lazy to spend the time getting that stuff, like as an example, right now there are 30 toys that you can look at on Instagram, and you can put the time in, get into your car and drive to every single Toys R Us, Walmart, Target in America and get those toys and make a profit immediately. Like there's no other business in the world that you can do that. I just want to point out really quick that reselling is the easiest business ever compared to other things. Let's say, for an example, you wanted to open a Subway, right? And you spent $250,000 in a store, franchise fee, all that stuff to set up, right? And your store is designed to produce 150 sandwiches a day, right? That's the idea behind a franchise. You want to serve 150 items a day. Look at the average sale price of, like, let's say $8. You're looking at $1,000 a day, 365 grand a year revenue. 1/3 is the food cost. Okay, so like Hustlebeast in the chat, he would cry if his cost of goods sold was 30% because he doesn't want to be in that model. But you get no choice if you open a Subway. 1/3 cost is the sandwich stuff, right? Then you got another 1/3 for the labor. You have to have people to make the sandwiches for you, right? I have been to a lot of fast food places where the manager is working there to try to reduce that labor cost, and these are probably the franchises that actually make it. Can you imagine spending a 250 grand for a Subway? You don't even get to pick where it is. They tell you where to put it, and it may still fail. So all the time I see actual franchises, I see the actual person working there. That's not passive income. That's literally you just buying yourself your own job, kind of, right? So you have a Subway shop designed to do 150 items per day, right? So that's decent volume. There are very few eBay sellers that can do 150 items per day, right? It's not a full freedom. It's not full freedom if you have to actually work there, right? But it's okay. In my opinion, it's better than a job because you own that franchise. You can sell it to somebody else. It's okay. But if you're buying a McDonald's or a Starbucks, it's not as risky as a different kind of franchise because it's popular, right? So this is where I go for sell popular instead of cheap. Popular is not cheap. Popular is expensive. That's why it's the popularity keeps the price high, right? And this is why on Amazon, if you listen to all the gurus and they say buy stuff 1,000 rank or higher, you're basically shielding yourself from buying things that won't sell right away. But you may have a small margin. You may have single digit margin, but your items are going to be gone. You don't have to worry about it. You can even predict how long it takes. I think you can predict how long it takes on eBay if you sell popular items. No one has said, oh man, my Gucci just keeps sitting. It doesn't move. I don't know why. I price it, you know, half of market and it hasn't moved. That's never happened before, right? If you're selling a Gucci item, it's going to sell within 70% of the market. If you just wait a couple of months, it's at the longest and it's going to move. If you're selling the LOL surprise balls right now at 50 cents cheaper than market, they're going to move because the market is super high. So I know it hurts that you spent hundreds of hours listing stuff that sucks, but the reality is you need to get rid of it. The market doesn't care. They only want to buy stuff that's popular. Okay. The third thing is you need to stop wasting time on victim mentality. eBay's algorithm does not favor anybody. It's one of the only algorithms that's fair. It plays fair. I can see that it plays fair because sometimes I have an item, let's say a Vineyard Vines pullover. I have it priced at 80 bucks, right? And it's perfectly described, looks perfect, description is nice, right? I have it for 80. Somebody else just sold the same item who listed it after me for 100 bucks, horrible pictures, no measurements, right? But the thing is the traffic is divided evenly. It's obvious when you look at the way eBay is operating. It's not like Amazon where they pound the buy box. You have 100 things, you're the cheapest and the best. Amazon will sell them until you're sold out. eBay is not like that. They rotate the traffic. They play fair. You can just enter in. Otherwise, how could people like me who just started achieve any type of sell-through rate when there are sellers with 1 million pre-owned items, right? If you guys think that eBay only favors the large sellers, then you would never get any sales because there are multiple stores with over 1 million listings. If that was the case, their sell-through rate would be insane, but it's not. If it was the case that they only favored large algorithm people wouldn't open a second account to sell the same item. They're doing that because each store gets a certain amount of traffic, right? If you want to test this in different markets, I have with a few people like Prince, we've purchased the same item from 3 stores. It comes from the same address. And it's not drop shipping because drop shipping wouldn't update that quickly. And when you get a drop shipment order, they always say something like, you can tell when you're buying from a drop shipper because the experience is different. And when you get the box, it's from like Walmart or Amazon or Kmart or something. This is not the case. It's not drop shipping. So that means a seller has opened 3 different stores, one pretending like it's a mom and pop shop, one fully retail shop, white background, perfect description, free returns, free shipping. You're also competing against people like Adidas, right? That can offer free shipping, free returns because they're so big that that's okay. If you're a small seller, it's difficult to offer free returns and free shipping because you're going to feel it. You have 5% returns on 100 items and you have an average sale price of 30 bucks. That's a lot. That's $150 in returns you just had. And that's going to affect you. For Adidas, it doesn't matter. They could have 20% returns and they're still going to be in business next month. So they can offer those heavy policies. eBay is not working against you. In fact, I think it's it's literally one of the only platforms that will give you a chance, right? I see people all the time that just started, like my low-key Husky account is like $12,000 a month now. I just opened it. I just started it. I've just passed the 2,000 transaction mark with no history, right? I wouldn't be able to compete if it was only in the only favoring the top people. Now, what this does, it's more poisonous than just thinking that eBay is out to get you. It's a victim mentality. Here's the problem: you actually can't change eBay, right? The only thing you can change is your own eBay store. If you're worried about eBay, you're in trouble because you can't control eBay. This is the part that really is crazy. I want to share something with you guys that's mind blowing. So, I've been going to this eBay meetup. It's at eBay. Okay, so like this eBay meetup meets at the headquarters of eBay. They get to talk to people who work at eBay. Like the people who run the meeting, their email is dude@ebay.com. That's the email, right? That's the guy you're talking to. They've been meeting there for a decade. Okay. They've been meeting there for 1 decade. You guys realize how long that is? That's 10 years. Okay. Day one, you know what they were asking? Hey, could you guys help us with like some kind of accounting system so that we can keep track? It's kind of hard when you're a small business and you need to do everything. And eBay was like, sure. That was a decade ago, right? So now we're talking about 10 years later. Actually, I'm pretty sure in 1995, when the platform just launched, somebody was like, hey, can you help me with accounting? That would be awesome, right? But that's not, they haven't been doing that because they have other things that they're working on. What we are saying is great, but like they have different things they're working on. So instead of worrying about eBay changing the accounting system, you have to make your own accounting system, right? Instead of worrying about it. And over the course of a decade, you should be able to figure out your own accounting system instead of worrying about it. Like, it's just mind-boggling to me. Don't waste your time waiting for eBay to make a change because they don't have time. They have other stuff that they're working on. And the thing is, I actually think eBay cares. Like they really do care. They're just busy, right? They have other stuff that they're working on. They're a public company. They have a board of directors. They're answering the stockholder, things. They're like, okay, how are you guys going to make more money? If I was eBay, I'd be like, okay, and we want to make more money. What can we do? Okay, we can increase fees by creating promoted listings. People will pay to get higher search ranking, right? And that allows small people like myself to pay a certain like 1% or 1% up to, I think 20% is the max, 20% higher cost to actually rank higher than adidas.com. I tried this with a pair of Adidas I had, and I just put it up to 20% because you don't get charged unless it actually sells, right? And I tested it, and it's amazing. It shows up first because eBay wants that fee, right? So it makes sense. If you mark it all the way up on the highest promote, why wouldn't eBay present your thing first? They want it to sell, so you pay literally 30% final value fees. If I was eBay, I would want to do that. And if I was trying to make my stockholders happy, I'd be spending time trying to make the fees higher. Now, that being said, I do think that eBay is working on all these seller tools and dashboards, and they've been focusing on making the app good for sellers, because I rarely hear people complaining that the buying app is bad, right? I don't. They've done a fantastic job with the buying app. Everyone that uses eBay to buy stuff loves it. They're like, it's so easy. Like I have my saved searches, including me. I buy stuff on eBay to resell. It's easy to use, right? So I know that I know I'm trying to buy stuff. So I'm like, okay, I want to buy Lululemon that's spelled wrong, right? So I type in Lululemon with 2 N's at the end or something. And I save that search. And when somebody misspells it, I can pop in there and buy it. Excellent. It's very, very good for buying. But as a seller, it's not great for selling the mobile app because there's no custom SKU. There's no business policies. There's a lot of tools that are designed for someone to sell what's in their closet. If I was trying to sell 5 items, like my girlfriend has 10 items in her eBay store, she doesn't need business policy. She doesn't need custom SKU. She doesn't need an inventory system because her inventory system is her couch with 5 items on it, right? It's easy. If you're only selling under 100 items, you don't need an inventory system. You don't need square pictures. You don't need anything. All you need is to be able to post it online, and eBay will tell you, hey, sell your Gucci handbag, sell your Chloe shoes, sell your Hunter rain boots, right? And people will. They'll sell that kind of stuff, and it'll really help people. It helps the person that's just selling at their home in their closet get stuff done. It would be confusing to me if I was just a random person selling some stuff and it said, which business policy do you want to use? I'd be like, oh, this is too difficult to use. Like, forget it. I'll just sell it on Mercari, right? Or Poshmark or something. Shout out to BG for the super chat of $10. Thank you. I just think, oh yeah, if you guys are watching live, please hit the like button. That would really help me out, help people find the channel and new people to come here. But I just think they've done a fantastic job making it a buyer-friendly app. Now, they're going to be working on the seller app because it makes sense to create tools for sellers because we ultimately provide all the information and all the stuff for people to buy. And as I said in my previous video, the 100 tip video that you guys should check out, there is 10,000, tens of thousands of sellers that do half of the business and millions of sellers who do the other half, right? And my job is to bridge the gap between us, the little guys, and normal people. I want to bridge the gap between us who only make, you know, 500,000 and less to the people who make $1 million and more. Let's try to close that gap by creating new tools. You guys know that in my mastermind group, we're writing an eBay SOP, which means like exactly when you get item A, you put it in section A. It's recorded like we make a little information card where it says how much you paid, where did you buy it? Because okay, this is what I want to. This is the reason why I'm making the system. People are saying, oh, you can just use cost average for the cost of goods sold. I don't want to use an average. I want to use the exact amount because I want to know what to keep buying and what to not buy. Okay. If I buy 20 shirts for $100 and I put in $5 cost of goods sold, even though some I paid 8, some I paid 2, some I paid 1, right? And then I'm not going to know which ones I made the most profit on to keep buying that. Like I said before in the previous one, sell popular stuff versus cheap. I would much rather sell Ralph Lauren for 30% profit than take a gamble on a brand that I don't know is going to sell. I'd rather pay $10 for a shirt that sells for 20 and I make $2-3 profit than buy a $3 item that randomly sells, right? I don't like that. I want to take the risk out of my business. I'll take a smaller margin every day and be able to predict what's going to come out of it. I want to sell popular. I'd like an entire store that's 100% Gucci, right? And you can get that. If you guys want to become, you want to sell only Gucci, you have to get a really fat wallet, figure out when the sales are going to happen, go there, go crazy. You could sell only one brand if you want to. That's how big eBay is. So Kim, the OC Thrift Shop, what's going on? Kim actually suggested that I go on the Instagram. So thank you, Kim. I didn't know about the Instagram community before she told me to go on there. I was in Facebook, which is like a cesspool of complaining. So I'm glad I'm out of there. S. Hankins is saying 6-bit records cost of goods and has good accounting. The only reason I haven't tried 6-bit is because it's wonky with a Mac. So I really need to stop being a baby. I already bought Parallels so I can run it. I just need to do it. Inventory system would be nice for mobile. Yeah, I mean, everybody wants an inventory system for mobile. What I'm saying is instead of complaining about it, just learn how to use desktop. Because when they come out with mobile, great, we'll use that. But right now, since there's not, just move on. Focus on what you can change. And I think that's really going to help out a lot. I just really think that we need to move out of this victim mentality and into a hunter mentality. Right now, I see a lot of opportunity because I see a lot of complaining. What's up, Cindy? I want to just shout out. What was my point here? I have a really good point I'm trying to think of. Oh yeah, complaining is new school. Complaining is a new thing. Back in the day, like when I listen to back in the day stories from old people, they're like, hey, I came to the country with no money and I figured it out, right? They came here, they didn't speak the language, they didn't have any money, they figured it out. And those are the baby boomers that we have today driving Maseratis and Coronado. Those people came to the United States with no money. Now, right, because of Facebook and social media, you can complain and other people who have the same mentality as you will join you. I even tested this on YouTube. If I complain, if I'm like, hey, my sales are horrible, how about yours, as a title, it explodes. So many people like watching and complaining and like, me too, my store is horrible, eBay has it out for me. They saw me one time at the grocery store and they didn't like what was in my cart, and so now they won't let me get any sales. Like, that's before, like 30-40 years ago, before social media, nobody would listen to that story. That's if you told that story, people would be like, no, they're not out to get you. But now that you have a platform like social media, you can talk to thousands of people. You can even become rich off of being just a gossip channel. So if you guys know, one of the largest channels is what's that guy's channel? He has the largest Patreon. So the guy that has the largest Patreon group has a news channel where he just gives his opinion on what's bad, all the gossip. People like Perez Hilton that pretend to be Paris Hilton and just create a gossip channel. Those channels make millions of dollars per year. So that's way more profitable than reselling because you're just appealing to the people who like to complain. Most people like to complain and not do anything. Um, Literally 1% of people have made it to seven figures and above on eBay. 99% are lower than that. And that 1% is 50% of the business. And I imagine that's the same throughout every single industry, right? Today, I did a podcast with Tech and Sports. That episode's going up on Sunday, by the way. We talked about the fact that all this stuff that I have a VA and a photographer. When you break it down, it saves me 1 hour a day. Okay. Having two staff saves me 1 hour a day. That's it. It only saves me 1 hour. If you count like the time that I need to talk to the photographer, review things that are making sure are good. If somebody quits, I need to hire a new person, right? So in between, like getting from hobby seller to enterprise, where you have 5+ employees, or you don't need 5, but 3+ employees to get to $1 million in sales, you're not really saving that much time until you start really processing a lot. If you're a small store, and I consider small under 200 items a week, you don't need any help. Like, I know that that's really painful and most people will hate me, but if you sell under 200 items a week, you do not need any help. You don't need any help. All you need is a little bit of discipline, and you need to get better at selling, right? So I was just talking to Prince about one more concept, which is kind of mind blowing, which is we were talking about how awesome Jake Paul is. And Jake Paul is like trying to become the first social media billionaire. And the fact that he's not a beginner, right? He's been doing this for a long time. His brother's been doing it for a long time. He's been like grooved, and he's learning all these things. Every day is improving and improving and improving. And I'm looking at how to do eBay also as a revenue stream. And like, it's so different because he has a production staff. Like, every single video is scripted from beginning to end. There's a production crew, there's paid sponsorships. It's like I'm competing against people who have a full staff. That's the same thing on eBay, right? You've got to really just elevate yourself so you can figure out what's going on and how you can really succeed. But again, I just want to repeat for the people who are just joining, the 3 things that I think you should work on to get to 100 grand on eBay in sales. Do you have an overall store brand? Like, and what I mean by that is not your logo and stuff. Do you look like a yard sale, or do you look like a store? Right? A store has consistent photos, consistent description, consistent pricing. They don't have jeans for $79 that are only worth $19.99. And they don't make mistakes like that as often as people who are just hobby sellers. Number 2, sell popular items, don't sell cheap items. If you purchased a um, vintage abominable snowman figurine, right? And one of them sold 60 days ago for $47. Maybe pass on that when you see it in the thrift store for $1. Like, okay, maybe for $1 you'd pick it up, but don't expect that to sell fast. That's an item that could take 5 years to sell. You don't know, you have no idea. But if you're gonna buy, let's say, a Hatchimal at the peak of the Hatchimal craze, and you take longer than a week to sell it, then you're doing something wrong. So you definitely want to focus on popular versus cheap. And the third thing is don't waste time with the victim mentality. So like, just focus on things that you can change. Don't focus on other people because you can't change them. Trying to change other people is very hard and not possible for most. So trying to get up there and make people do something, that's not possible. People are their own people. You can only lead a horse to water. I'm not telling you how to run your eBay store. I'm just saying that I've reviewed 150 stores in the last 3 weeks, and 90% of them look like hobby sellers, and they have hobby seller results, right? The ones that look like real stores have real store results. And I'll tell you, this is some crazy stuff. I would say 20% of the people who bought a review do over $500,000 in sales. Okay, people who are doing over 500 grand paid for a review from me, hoping I can give them one nugget. And if I do give them one nugget, it's worth way more than $22. It's worth a fortune. So if you guys want that, this is what they're doing. Why do people, like all the people in my mastermind group, there's very, very few people in my mastermind group that do less than 50,000 in sales. It's people who are already good at eBay that want to get better at eBay, right? Who buys personal training? Usually people who are already in shape or have a history of being in shape hire a personal trainer. People who are not in shape are like, why would I pay for a personal trainer when I already know what to do? All I have to do is work out and eat less. But they don't work out or eat less. And it would be easier if someone showed you how to work out, right? Even though you can Google how to work out and it'll pop up, there's still people who pay for that. If you want to learn how to swim, it's faster to hire a swim instructor than to download a PDF for swimming, right? In theory, everyone already knows how to swim. Why are there swim schools? That's the analogy that I use. Okay, one more thing that I want to give you guys a preview for. The next episode is going to be on Monday, and I want you guys to think about the guy's name that I was talking about is Jake Paul. So Jake Paul, thanks for asking that question. On Monday, we're going to talk about this concept of how expensive do the sandwiches you want to sell? Like, how expensive should you sell your stuff? If you want to be like Hustle Bee and sell $150 sandwiches, then it better be premium meat from Italy. It better be prosciutto from the mountaintops of Italy. If you want to sell, actually, that's not the case. If you want to sell $1,000 sandwich, you would need a caviar that's rare. You would need prosciutto that's rare. You would need foie gras from this special place in order to charge $1,000 for a sandwich, right? And Hustlebee is mentioning here that you need to be a master. I can't make that sandwich and have any credibility. I need to be a 5-star Michelin chef with some history that, when you eat that caviar foie gras sandwich, the blend needs to be perfect so that I can justify spending $1,000 for it. Now, if you want to sell a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, which is what most stores are that I look at, you have a corner shop and you sell peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but only a third of each piece of the bread is covered. It's not even a full peanut butter and jelly sandwich, only parts of it. Each bite is going to be different because you half-assed everything in the listing. That's not that exciting. Like, people are not really going to buy that sandwich, right? And the worth of that sandwich is under $10 unless someone really was desperate and was really hungry, or they like the way that you presented the layout and the thickness of the peanut butter. But it's rare. Like, people aren't going to buy that compared to if you had a good sandwich. If you had now, this is sort of the middle ground. If you're in like the Subway range and you provide a good product for $8, you're going to sell it. But I think that most of us want to be Whole Foods, where we offer a nice variety of everything. That's where I want to be. I don't want to just make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I want a whole variety. I'll make some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, but I'm going to do a great job at it. The peanut butter jelly ratio is going to be on point, right? When you buy it, you're going to be like, damn, this is exactly what I was looking for $250, right? So you're going to make sure that I give the right balance of the sandwich. That's what I want to talk about on Monday. So whatever ratio of high, low ASP items, think about that for on Monday, because it really depends on how you present yourself. If you want to sell expensive sandwiches, you can't have a Subway. You need a building, you need a nice wait staff, you need a beautiful hostess. That's important. If you want to pay that much for something, you want the presentation to be amazing. If you want to sell junk, there are stores that do $1 million a year on eBay that their pictures are taken on a dirty floor. But it doesn't matter because their items are like $12 shipped, right? They just sell thousands and thousands and thousands of those. So it just depends on where you want to be, guys. I appreciate you taking the time to be with me. I appreciate you guys sharing your time. As a reseller, my goal, again, is to help you guys with actionable information to improve your eBay store week after week. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.